What's good? Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How you guys doing? Welcome to another episode, Monday, of Coffee and Sports in the Morning. Here with your boy, Coach Dante, aka the host. And shout out to my three guys on the panel, to the other two guys on the panel. My co-host, aka my morning guy duo, my right-hand man, Mo Better. And down at the bottom, y'all got to guard that three in the NBA, man. Y'all know the biggest key of the NBA, and Greg Popovich always say, the key to him, you got to defend the three. And if you can't defend the three, then you can't win games. You can't win games if you can't defend the three ball. We got my boy Guardy 3, aka Brett, in the building. How you doing? How y'all doing this morning, fellas?
Hey, what's good, Coach? Good morning, Brett.
Morning. Ready to talk some sports. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. You got to go, like Pop said, you got to go out that goddamn three. You got to go out that three, man. So shout out to Mo, man, for another victory, for retaining his title on yesterday, to keeping that championship in the morning show, man. Keeping that championship for us in the morning show and bringing it home. So again, Jordan, you've been knocked out two weeks in a row, man. First, man, you got to come on with it. Jordan, man. You've been knocked out in the first round, two weeks in a row, man. You got to come on with stronger than that. So we start off in this morning, man. We already had the first Hall of Fame preseason game went on this week, and we have some college football. Nick Saban said, sad how college football realignment will diminish college football transition. Reaction. Do you agree or disagree with Saban's comments? Mo, how you feel about the comments?
I disagree. To me, that the way that they're moving these conferences around, one is about money and power. So let's start with the obvious. But the truth is, it strengthens these conferences. So I think it promotes more competition. And maybe Nick Saban just has more problem with competition. Or maybe he's just an old man who can't handle change. I really think in the big picture, he still hasn't got over the fact that NIL has leveled the playing field. And so these other power conferences, they're making super power conferences. And I think that that's good competition. Look, the SEC has dominated college football for over a decade. So to me, anything you can do to level the playing field and make it more competitive, that's a good thing. But I think Nick Saban has a problem with that.
Brett?
No, I agree. I enjoy the realignments and whatnot, just because it's going to make up for more competitive games at the end of the day. And of course, like Mo kind of hit on all the points that I was about to hit on. It's going to create more competition. I don't think Nick Saban necessarily likes that, but I enjoy them realigning and hopefully just making the games more competitive and just divisions and leagues more competitive.
Got you. So we have, we already know we've been having some boxing matches been going on, but the only difference, we had one on the baseball field. We had a knockout on a baseball field. Evidently, we had a knockout on the goddamn baseball field. So other than that, Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson got into a big altercation on the field. The man that started is the man that ended up on his back, happened to get knocked out by the left hook, pretty much. Brent, your initial reactions to Tim Anderson getting knocked out by Jose Ramirez?
Oh, I thought it was great. These are a lot of these fights are they can possibly draw in more people, just more new rivalries, fresh blood. Like, let's be real. I still go back on YouTube and look up Nolan Ryan putting Robin Ventura on a headlock and beating him down. And, like, let's be real. That's what a lot of people look up to, these MLB fights. And I think that there will be some blowback. Some people won't like it, but I do think that it just makes the game kind of more exciting because they want to tune in now and see what happens the next time they meet. So I personally enjoyed it. It was one of my all-time favorite fights. That was a nasty hook he caught him with.
Got you. Mo, your thoughts?
I don't know. I'll say this. Had he had that hook, I mean, if Earl Spence had that hook, he would have had them titles. If he had that hook, he would have had them titles.
He hit him right on the chin with it too.
I mean, he caught him clean. Like, you catch somebody like that, Earl Spence would still be wearing those belts. That's how powerful that was. I don't see a whole lot of baseball brawls. The one that always stands out to me, and it's not really it was within a brawl. It's when I think it was Pedro Martinez manhandled the older guy. It was
yeah.
I think it was Don Zimmerman. Yeah, he just slummed it. I mean, he went after Don Zimmerman. Don Zimmerman's like 100. He just tossed him around. I was like, come on, man. You gotta do better than that. That guy older than dirt, you manhandling him.
Man, he threw that man on the ground so quick, but the way like Jose Ramirez, I've never seen him go off like the way he did. But it's worse to start a fight, but it's much more worse if you get knocked out because you started it. You get knocked out on it, and he flew way back. He flew way back behind second base after he hit him.
Right. You start the fight and you get your clock clean. That's not cool. That's not a good look.
Jose Ramirez just might be in the wrong sport at this point. Get him on the next Logan Paul undercard.
I mean, we had many fights, celebrity fights that went on. I believe you had Adrian Peterson had a fight. I believe if I'm not mistaken, it was with Darren Williams. I believe Darren Williams got a victory on that one right there. I believe you had Nate Robinson get knocked out, getting hit upside the head, getting knocked out.
I remember that. Come on, Nate. Nate got destroyed.
Nate got put to sleep pretty.
I'm not gonna front. I actually thought Nate would do good going into the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't call it till they get out there and get in the ring. Like, Nate went in there with all the confidence in the world, then he was asleep.
Oh yeah. He went to sleep in the last and final round. It looked like he got hit upside the head pretty bad. That was pretty crucial. Rob in the building, Fred in the building. Fred, I thought you was on with us this morning. Let me find out you're running for Mo. Let me find out you're running from Fred. Yeah, that was hilarious, Jordan. Nate Robinson got hit upside the head. He got slept. Got it side of the head, got knocked out cold. That was crazy. So we had another fight this week. Mo, Jake Paul defeated Nate Diaz in a total beatdown, total ass kicking by unanimous decision. Your reaction to it?
I don't want to say it was rigged, but it didn't look good. It looked really bad. Like, I get it that Paul's been boxing for a long time, but Nate Diaz, even though he's an MMA fighter, they do have boxing concepts, and he's been doing that for a long time. And the thing about Nick Diaz is his strength is when he's upright in his boxing skills, and he got destroyed. I mean, it wasn't even a good match. So I'm not in awe of it. It wasn't really entertaining. It was just lopsided. It kind of reminded me of Spence versus Bud. It was bad to watch. I'm not going to buy into Paul's fighting ability till I see him fight a fighter in his prime, not somebody 40, but a fighter, fight a ranked fighter, and then we can have a conversation.
Brett.
Actually, I wanted to ask Mo a question since he's the expert on this subject. I saw the comments that Paul wants to be a world champion by 2026. Judging by what you've seen so far, you think he can do it?
No. I will say this though. So if you watch boxing, and Coach knows this,
Yep.
boxing is kind of like wrestling. There's like 700 belts out there. So could he win a title? Could he be like the North American, I don't know, junior middleweight champion or something like that? Maybe. But if you're talking about he wants to be a world champion in a main event and hold like a WBA or WBC belt, I don't think he's that good a boxer. I really don't. He's yet to fight. He's yet to fight a fighter, at least his age or younger. He has picked his opponents very well, very carefully, and very well. If you want to be a world champion, at some point he's got to fight fighters that are in their peak, and I think once that happens, he's gonna get his clock clean.
Yo, so Freddie, I'm demanding the boxing segment, man, a boxing show. It's about time to get some boxing up in here, with me and Mo. But other than that, though, if Jake Paul, like if you talking about this is perfect for Jake Paul right here, like going right here, picking guys like Nate Robinson and stuff. This is perfect. But if you talking about boxing, like a Crawford or a Spence, he would get demolished. To be honest, he would actually get demolished. I don't think he compete with those. So I think these cherry picks right here is just perfect for Jake Paul.
I agree 100%. It's disrespectful to fighters like Spence and Crawford and any of the other guys that have been doing this or since they were kids to think that this guy can step in and be on their level. He's smart. Like I said, this lane that he's in, he should stay in it. These exhibitions or celebrity fights, whatever you want to call them, I think he'll do well in. But if he actually wants to step in the ring and fight against skilled ranked fighters, he won't be doing it for long.
Yeah, he'll get put to sleep by people like that. I don't care what fighter he go up against, he will get put to sleep, especially if he go up against those top fighters. He couldn't even beat Floyd Mayweather. He couldn't even beat the older Floyd Mayweather. That's a technical real boxer that he actually fought and lost to, that he actually got dominated. Right. So if he was to step into a world of boxing and if he's so serious by becoming a world champ, then again, hey, he needs to step up against one of those guys, and that way we'll be able to judge his fighting ability at that point of time. So, y'all, we get to the nitty gritty. We got the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos are eyeing Josh Jacobs. Would you trade him within your own division? Which teams need more of Josh Jacobs? Go ahead, Brett.
So I would only really trade him in division if they're willing to really overpay, because I really don't want to see him, 2 times a year and then maybe having to play against him again in the playoffs, because he's just going to be motivated. He's just going to run right through me at that point, honestly. Which teams could use him? That's a really good question. I think a team like maybe like Miami could give him a call. Get that leader, get a lead back to take some pressure off Tua, split some carries with Mozart. I think that'd be a really good 1-2 punch. So I think Miami would be a good spot for him.
Okay. No.
Yeah, outside of the division, Miami, of course, would be one of the teams that come first to your mind. Inside the division, the Broncos. The Broncos want to run the football, and they actually want to play smash mouth. And Josh Jacobs does most of his work between the tackles. So that would line up perfectly with the Broncos. And it's not like it's going to hurt the Raiders where he'll see them down the line in the playoffs. The Raiders ain't going to the playoffs. The Raiders going to the lottery. So it's not going to impact them. Matter of fact, them playing the Broncos and getting beat by the Broncos is going to help their future out. So it actually helps them in the long run because they're going to get a high draft pick. But I think Denver could use them. Baltimore's got some good running backs, but Josh Jacobs is a proven number one option as a running back. So there's a couple teams within the division that could use him. But to me, if you're the Raiders and you're going to actually move him, you move him out of the division, because even if you plan on being good within a year or two, he's going to hurt you. He's that kind of running back. He's only 24 years old. So the idea that you're just going to shift him and move him on, especially to a team that's already loaded up their offensive line, and you brought in a Sean Payton, and they're going to play smash mouth, that's going to work in the Broncos' favor. It's only going to benefit the Raiders, like I said, because it's going to get them closer to that number 1 pick.
So would y'all actually? So if you was the GM, would you actually trade him into the division, Mo? Would you actually trade him within the division if you was the GM?
I would not. I would not. If anything, I might trade him out the conference altogether.
Yep. That's the best way to do it. Brett, would you trade him even if it was the right deal? Would you trade him within the division if it was the right deal? Say if they want to offer you 2 first-round picks, would you do it? Would you trade him within the division or out, like Mo said, out of the conference, just out of the conference period?
I would prefer to also trade him out of the division and just out of the conference, but in all reality, if all of a sudden they're willing to like massively overpay and start offering like two first, a couple seconds, and we start getting a lot of premium picks, then I would probably move them in conference, but only like if they're really willing to overpay by quite a bit.
Hey, like I say, like you always say, hey, you don't trade a person inside of the conference. If you're gonna trade them, make sure you trade them out of it. Trade them to the other side of the street. You trade them across the street. Trade them across the street to the NFC side. Don't trade them within the division. Don't never do it within the conference or into the division because it might come. Go ahead.
Chicago, you could use him. Could use him.
Yep. Chicago could use him.
That young quarterback, that's his best friend. A reliable run game. Chicago could definitely use him. So there are places you can send him that have a need. It's just a question of, I guess, what they get back in compensation.
So it's an interesting subject that I want to kind of make up that I brought up. So other than this, I've been hearing a lot. In training camp and stuff like that. I know it ain't on top, but I just had a quick question right quick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback situation is kind of bad, really bad if you look at it. You have Baker Mayfield, who has the most picks in training camp. I believe it was 7. He has 7 picks already in training camp. Dak I saw about 5 picks by Dak Prescott, and you had Lamar Jackson throw 4 yesterday. Is that a concern? Now, the Buccaneers have a quarterback battle that is not going well, but Baker Mayfield ain't helping himself out. He threw 7 picks. Kyle Trask ain't that much better. Those are concerning, especially for veterans that's trying to impress to be a starting quarterback, but you're throwing 7 picks in training camp. Lamar Jackson threw 4, and you have Dak Prescott saying he's not planning on the throw picks, but he's most of his pick comes with tip passes. Is that a concern though? Is that a concern for you?
I think it's a concern if you feel that the guys are not sharp, especially in Tampa Bay's situation where you got 2 guys competing for the starting quarterback position, but neither one of them has separated themselves from the other. And look, Tampa Bay, they're in a division. We agree that if you can get consistent quarterback play, you might have an outside shot at competing for that division. But if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm concerned, but I also know who I have at quarterback. There's no way you came into this season with Trask and Baker Mayfield and said, we're probably going to go 10-6 or 11. They didn't, or 10-7 or 11-6. You didn't think that. You were coming in there thinking if they can just hold it down and we can win 6 to 8 games, if we can just be in it, because the defense is still pretty solid. It's still pretty stout. I think it's a bigger concern in Dallas. It's a bigger concern in Baltimore because both of those teams have higher aspirations. I know it's training camp, but you still want your guys to be sharp. How you play or how you practice, how you play. So you want Lamar, especially since he's missed so much time, you need him to be sharp. The struggle for Lamar is if they are indeed implementing a new offense that stresses more passing, that might be the struggle. The truth of the matter is he's not a natural passer. So this new offense, while it might be good for his body, it might not be good for his production. And with Dak, Dak can say all he wants about how he's going to cut down interceptions, but if he's struggling in practice, I'm wondering what he's going to do the first preseason game when he's out there trying to go on the first drive when he's playing in the first or second quarter. I think it matters. It has to matter to both of those teams because they have big aspirations. And the Cowboys, look, top to bottom, they're as talented as any team in the NFC, top to bottom. The only question mark is that quarterback.
Gotcha. Brett?
No, I agree with that. It's kind of tough for the Buccaneers because normally it would be a concern, but at the same time, we knew how rough this quarterback room was going to be. We know that Kyle Trask isn't anything more than like an average starter and above average starter on a good day, and Baker's just not much better than that. So I do think that the Cowboys and Ravens are bigger concerns because those two teams probably fancy themselves as Super Bowl contenders or close to it. So I'm not too worried about the Buccaneers because this is exactly what it kind of expected from them. But Dak and Lamar, if they want to take their teams anywhere, they got to be better. They got to make sure they're cutting down on those turnovers.
Yeah, and also Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown 4 picks as well. He has thrown, I believe he threw them yesterday. He threw 4 picks yesterday, so that's a quarterback. He's struggling as well. So we get to the big fish. Mo's Lakers. Mo, every time I think I laugh at the Jackson Hayes comment that you made. Mo, I laugh at the Jackson Hayes comment that you said. Now let's go back. Let's turn the clock in time. And what was said about Jackson Hayes? Jackson Hayes that you said what they said they thinking about starting him and AD on the floor together. So what was about Jackson Hayes? What was about Jackson Hayes with him and AD on the floor together?
But one, it's going to hurt you. Let's be from a basketball standpoint. It's going to hurt your team because you're going to have spacing issues. Jackson Hayes is a zero range player. He doesn't have a low post game. He can't shoot in range. I said it before. What he's really good at is running up and down the floor, getting good cardio. So he's healthy. He's healthy as hell, but he doesn't do a whole lot other than that. Just run up and down the floor. He's fit. But is he going to actually help you with AD on the floor? No, I don't see that. Look, in all seriousness, Jackson Hayes is a rotation player who, if you play in spurts, he can be fine. But the idea that you're going to start him with Anthony Davis, you're setting yourself up for failure. You just are. They're not going to guard him. If he's on the floor, you've just made it easier to stop LeBron James and Anthony Davis because no one's guarding Jackson Hayes. Nobody. That's on the playground, we call that self-check. Nobody's guarding him. So I'm just saying, look, I've played against guys when I used to play in high school like Jackson Hayes, and we used to just call those guys big for nothing. So I'm not saying he's not a legitimate NBA player, but all this hype about they got Jackson Hayes, like I honestly think the difference between Jackson Hayes and Mo Bamba is maybe hair texture, but other than that, they're the same. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Mo Bamba can actually shoot. He can actually shoot. He gets good cardio and he can shoot. Jackson Hayes can't even shoot. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So I'm just saying to hype this guy up like that.
Yo,
he's been in the league 5 years, and his best year, I think he averaged like 4 or 5 points a game. I'm not saying he can't help you, but the Lakers are built to win now, right? We can all agree with that.
Yeah.
Because they're built to win now, you would have been better off bringing back JaVale McGee. That's all I'm saying. JaVale McGee is actually a proven product, and you know what you're going to get from him. Some guy running up and down the floor, being really fast and fit, that would mean nothing to me.
Yep. Go ahead, Brett.
Say, did I miss this part where we hyped up the Jackson Hayes signing? Like, you can try to start him, but as Mo said, that just sounds like an absolute disaster waiting to happen. You got 2 guys, and Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who should be doing most of their damage at the rim, but now you're bringing in Jackson Hayes, who has like the offensive package of like prime DeAndre Jordan, and not even that.
Right.
And he's just going to take up the space at the rim. You're just going to force LeBron and AD to sit there shooting mid-range jumpers, which isn't going to go so well. And now your whole offense is just thrown out of rhythm. Will the defense be better? Sure, I guess you have some more rim protection, but I think you're looking at a guy who should not be starting. You're looking at a guy who should be coming off the bench and playing short minutes. Maybe give him like 15 minutes a night.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Low energy guy or a high energy short minutes guy.
That's a lot of energy.
Yeah.
No, Brett gets it, coach. Like, even on defense, where you can say, well, Jackson Hayes can block shots, he can, but you know how this NBA is played. They're going to see Jackson Hayes on the floor, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to hunt for Jackson Hayes, isolate him, and he's going to get eaten alive in space.
Got you. So we got some news Mo coming from the Big Three. Ice Cube wants DeMarcus Cousins, LaMarcus Aldridge, Dwight Howard. He wants Isaiah Thomas, Jamal Crawford to join the Big Three. Is that a good sign? And do you think they should consider joining the Big Three?
That's a tough one, because to me, if you join the Big Three, not that it's not a credible and entertaining league for what it is, but if you join the Big Three, to me, you're basically saying that my NBA career is over. I'm done as a professional basketball player. And I don't know if Cousins feels that way. I don't think he does. I don't think Dwight feels that way. A guy like LaMarcus Aldridge, my guess is he's not interested in playing in the Big Three. To me, you've got to be one of those guys that even when you get into your late 30s or early 40s, that you're just a hooper. So you want to play no matter what. A hooper is going to play no matter what. I don't know if Aldridge is a hooper. Isaiah Thomas seems like the kind of guy that's a hooper. But I don't think he's done trying to become a pro. I still think he's trying to make a comeback. Jamal Crawford just retired. You might get him, but my guess is, knowing Jamal Crawford, he might want to get paid a little bit more than everybody else, because Jamal Crawford's still nice.
Yeah.
He go out in the Big Three, he's going to put in work. So I understand why Ice Cube wants those guys. I seriously doubt if he gets most of them.
Brett?
Yeah, I don't think he would get Dwight. I think Dwight still wants to be in the NBA. I don't think DeMarcus Cousins would consider it. And same with LaMarcus Aldridge. Isaiah Thomas, he probably wants to still be in the NBA, but he probably should consider it, because I just don't think there's a market for Isaiah Thomas anymore at this point. So if he wants to continue hooping, he should either consider that or just go play overseas at this point. As nice as IT was ever since that hip injury, he just hasn't been the same. And
agreed.
I think his playing time in the NBA at this point is over. And even if he does get signed, he's just going to be sitting at the end of a bench. But Jamal Crawford in the Big Three would actually be tons of fun. Jamal Crawford, you can tell by the way he dribbles and handles and just the way he approaches the game. He just loves it. He strikes me as a pure hooper.
Yeah.
And I would absolutely go to the Big Three to see Jamal Crawford. And I think he seems like a guy who would seriously consider it just because he loves to hoop.
Got you.
It's an entertaining league. It's entertaining.
It is. If you watch it, man, it's very entertaining, man. You got some of these old guys out there still. Tino Mobley's still hooping, for God's sake. He's still playing in the Big Three. You got people like Lisa Leslie coaching, won her a title in the Big Three. It's fun. If y'all actually pay attention, it's fun. It's fun and everything. You got people that's like Jonathan Simmons in the league, in the Big Three league. You got people out there still can actually play, could probably play. Goddamn, they can. I'm not gonna say they can't. They can play today, but they can be huge mentors though. Joe Johnson playing, still can score, still lighting it up. So
I think Corey Maggetti's in there. I mean, there's a lot of familiar faces. So if you're an NBA fan, I would suggest watching the Big Three as well, because you're going to see a lot of familiar faces.
Yep.
And they're a lot of fun to go to. I actually went to it when it was in Milwaukee a couple of years ago, and I got to see like Joe Johnson, Mario Chalmers.
Yep.
And it was just a fun atmosphere. It was really nice, relaxing, and just a lot of entertaining basketball to watch for sure.
Yep. So we got a report 12 minutes ago. Mo, the Lakers are Christian Wood's top targets.
Oh, you mean that he's theirs or they're his?
Yeah, they're his top target. I got their eyes on Christian Wood. What would you say about it? What you think about a good move for the Lakers if they sign him?
Look, Christian Woods can space the floor for a big. He's kind of versatile offensively. He can play the 3, he can play the 4, small ball 5 in certain instances. And I hate to come back to this, but if they get Christian Woods, that's just all the more reason Jackson Hayes ain't playing. If they get Christian Woods, we don't hear nothing about Jackson Hayes no more. Get no burn.
Freddie. Go ahead, Brett. Is the Lakers a good move, or do you see another team? What other team should take a chance on Christian Wood?
So I think actually the Lakers would be a really good fit for Christian Wood, because if you want to play Christian Wood is kind of a walking natural disaster on defense. So you need a really elite rim protector, somebody behind him to back him up. And I think that you're looking at a team who has Anthony Davis that can be on his help side, LeBron James. Even if you play him in the limited minutes with Jackson Hayes, he can help him as a help side defender. And that would be a perfect role for him, honestly, at that point. But
I mean, and look, Christian Wood's skill set is very similar to Rui's. I would just say that he's a more polished offensive player and he's got more range than Rui. But that would add a different kind of versatility to the Lakers. Like Brett said, poor defender, but as a rotation player, if you put him in, I'm sure Darvin Ham's going to put him in with guys who actually can defend, because Christian Wood can light the ball. He can light it up. He's also a big he's not limited because he can put the ball on the deck. He's not limited. He can take people off the dribble. The guy is naturally a scorer. His problem is he's not engaged consistently, especially on the defensive end. But I think it would be a good signing by the Lakers because it would just make them that much more deeper.
Freddie, you kind of missed it. Mo said Jackson Hayes just out there for a fitness test, just for a fitness and cardio. So another one. Somebody has to go. So if you have to choose one that has to go, who would it be? You got these guys at their best. DeMarcus Cousins, Sacramento. You have Blake Griffin, Clippers. Amari Stoudemire, Suns. Kevin Love, Minnesota. One has to go. Brett, which one would have to go?
All right, Kevin Love. He was a walking 25-12 in his prime. Really, I don't think he's gone. So what makes this question really tough, right? Because Amari Stoudemire was very good, but he was also very dependent on who was playing with him at point guard. Mm-hmm. So I almost want to say Amari Stoudemire just because I don't know who's at point guard with him. Amari couldn't really create for himself very well. He really benefited greatly from Steve Nash's gravity and attention. So even in New York, they got some solid, veteran point guards to kind of, guide him and still get him those easy buckets. So I'm going to say bye to Amari Stoudemire just because I think he was more limited offensively than the other three. And it's not like he has elite defense to make up for it either. I'm going to say bye to Stat.
Mo?
I'm with Brett. Stoudemire is probably one of the greatest finishers in NBA history, but he didn't really have a post game, and he really was reliant on how the point guard set him up to finish. He's a great finisher, but other than finishing at the rim in the pick and roll game, he had a face-up jump shot, but he really couldn't attack you individually with his own skill set. I think Amari is a lot more limited than what people remember. So I'm going to take the other guys because they're just better overall basketball players. He's the most explosive one, but the other guys are just better basketball players.
Yeah, got you. So I consider, like I say again, Paul Gasol. I think he's the actual better basketball player than Amari Stoudemire.
Well, easy.
And I think Amari Stoudemire in his prime. I think it depends on, you had Steve Nash, who made everybody better on Phoenix. You had Steve Nash, who basically made everybody better on Phoenix. And Amari Stoudemire is a beneficial from Steve Nash for how he ran that offense and became a leader in the pick and roll, 7 seconds or less offense. And again, Mo, it was a topic that I commend you for bringing up because a lot of people don't know how good this guy was. You brought up Sean Marion, and he was a 20-10 guy as a power forward / small forward. Talk how good Sean Marion actually was with Phoenix, the Phoenix Sean Marion.
You know what? He was ahead of his time, coach. He was
Yep.
he was a 3, but he could play the 4 in their offense. Remember, people forget Amari was the center. Marion was the 4. They were playing small ball before everybody else was playing small ball, and their whole thing was our offense will hurt you a lot more than your offense will hurt ours, and it was true more times than not. Sean Marion could defend at an elite level, great defender, great finisher, and he was one of those guys, coach, that he was a quick leaper. So he was a great rebounder, offensively rebounder and defensive rebounder.
Yep.
As great a finisher as Amari is, Marion probably was just as good. Like you hit the nail on the head. So here's a funny thing. So when people want to bring up that they think that Steve Nash shouldn't be a 2-time MVP, it's a debate maybe for one of those, but he earned one for sure because Steve Nash literally got everybody on that roster paid. He got Amari paid. He got Joe Johnson paid. He got Marion paid. He got you name it. Q Richardson. He got him paid. Like the key to that team was Steve Nash. The success of that team was built over everything that Steve Nash. It was built around his skill set. And as gifted as the other guys were, they were reliant on his ability to create and move the ball, not to mention his shooting ability. So I'm a big fan of Sean Marion, a big fan of Stoudemire, but the truth of the matter is their success, it kind of enhances how great a player Steve Nash was offensively.
Yep.
And the big thing about Sean Marion, too, is he was kind of the linchpin that held that defense together. We're looking at a defense with Steve Nash, who was phenomenal as he was offensively. He was a terrible defender. Amari Stoudemire was a terrible defender. So Sean Marion was just kind of the linchpin that held that defense together.
Agreed.
And then you look, and that's just kind of who he was. He's one of the most underrated, most versatile defenders in NBA history. They had him matched up on LeBron in 2011 and tried to help slow him down a lot. He was on that Dallas Mavericks team, so I think you hit the nail on the head. I really love Sean Marion, and I hopefully will cover him more in one of these weeks.
And don't forget, guys, when Amari went down with a season-ending injury, Boris Diaw came in. Nobody ever heard of him, and Steve Nash made him look like an all-star. He got Boris Diaw paid. Boris Diaw was playing small ball center, and Boris Diaw looked like an all-star because of Steve Nash.
Yep.
People seem to forget that Steve Nash is arguably like a top 10 offensive engine of all time. Like, you're talking elite shooting, elite playmaking, 50, 40, 90 shooting. His only real issue is he just didn't shoot more.
Yeah. Easily Steve Nash could have scored 20 plus a game had he wanted to.
Yep. Definitely agreed. So we got for the switch back to a little bit more NFL. So we do got Alvin Kamara, who's suspended for 3 games. Thought he got a slap on the wrist for almost killing somebody. Should have been out for a whole year, to be honest with you. Benjamin towards ACL. So you got a situation in New Orleans, but sources, they're making a run at Kareem Hunt, who's still a free agent. They're making a run at him. They do got Jamal Williams as well from Detroit. Brett, is Kareem Hunt a fit for the New Orleans Saints?
I think he helps because he adds more of a receiving threat out of the backfield. As much as I love Jamal Williams is more of an in-between the tackles kind of player. He's more of a bruiser, whereas Kareem Hunt, you can add a different dimension in the passing game, by bringing him out. So I do think that's a good fit, and it's a great move. And if they can absolutely get him, I would jump all over that.
Mo?
Oh, I love the Kareem Hunt fit. Look, with that offensive line, and if Derek Carr is going to be solid this year, Kareem Hunt's going to have a bounce back year. If you get Kareem Hunt in there, Kareem Hunt's going to end up being their leading rusher. Kareem Hunt is still 1,000-yard back, and he's great in the red zone. So to me, it's a big signing, and they're probably going to get him at a premium value. So it's a win-win both ways. The Saints get the running back they need. Kareem Hunt gets to revive his career. So I like the fit.
Yeah, got you on that one. So we got the still most notable free agents out there for the NFL. If you guys do not know that, Which of these guys that y'all think will be picked up? Do y'all see any of these guys picked up before start of training camp? Yeah, I know we can make sure Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt, they're gonna be picked up. Actually, but you still got Jadeveon Clowney, Isaiah Rodgers. Yannick Ngakoue is off the board. He's with the Bears right now. And you got Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, Dalton Rising. You got John Johnson, who's targeted by the Rams, Teddy Bridgewater, Kenny Galladay. You have Melvin Ingram. You have Calvin Noyd, Jarvis Landry, Logan Ryan. You have Julio Jones, Robert Quinn, Carson Wentz, Anthony Barr, Ronald Darby. You have Justin Houston, who was just picked up, by the way, and Ben Jones. Any of these guys, other guys outside of these guys on that list that y'all see getting a spot on some roster? Brad, I'm going to start with you.
I can definitely see Zeke getting a spot, even though, he's not the same player he was a couple of years ago. I think he still adds a lot of value in pass protection. So I can see Zeke getting picked up. I can see Jadeveon Clowney possibly getting picked up. He is actually normally very good in run support, and I could see him helping out on the edge. So those are two guys that I could see getting picked up.
Mo?
I'm actually right with Brett, lockstep. I think Ezekiel Elliott is still one of the best short yard running backs in the league. He's great in the red zone. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I'm lobbying for Zeke. An ex-Cowboy, I'm lobbying for him. I think he will be a great fit with the Chiefs. I really do.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
You put Ezekiel Elliott on the Chiefs, and they're in the red zone. He's not going to rush for 1,000 yards, but I bet you can get you 10 or 11 touchdowns in the red zone. So I think he has a lot of value. Not to mention what Brett said. He is great in pass protection. And Patrick Mahomes would love Ezekiel Elliott. So I love that fit. Jadeveon Clowney. The thing about Clowney is this. I still think he's a playmaker. Not a starter, but probably in different rotations. I think Clowney has a lot of value. He gives you depth. And like Brett said, he can still get after the quarterback a little bit, but as he's gotten older and stronger, he's come a lot better in run support. So I think Clowney has value.
I'm still stuck, Brandon. I'm trying to figure out how Dalvin Cook isn't signed, but
I'm with you.
Is it Dalvin Cook though, or is it Dalvin Cook asking for it too much? Is the reason why he's not signing, or it's just teams are not taking a chance on it though? Mo, I'm gonna start with you, Mo.
I don't think he's asking for too much, because I think his asking price is $10 million, which is really below what a lot of the other running backs are complaining or asking about. He's asking for $10 million, so he's not asking for the world, and he's healthy. He's not on the other side of his prime, so I don't understand what's going on. Other than I think that the league, at least the owners, are taking a hard stance, and they're saying we got the running backs where we want them. This guy's asking for $10 million. We'll hold out till he agrees to sign for $5 million or $6 million. I think that's really what it's about. I have no doubt Miami wants Dalvin Cook, but these owners are petty, and they're just saying, like, we'll just wait. We'll wait till the first week if he wants to hold out that long, and we'll get him at a discount. And that's probably what's going to end up happening. If Dalvin Cook is not going to retire, and I don't think he is, and he plans to continue his career, he's not going to get $10 million.
Right?
No, I absolutely agree with that, because I can't see any other reason for him not to be signed. Watching him play all these years on the Vikings, he's just so talented, and I don't see a reason. Like, if we didn't have Aaron Jones, I wouldn't mind forking over $10 million for him. Like, I think he's definitely worth that, but I agree. I don't see a reason why he's not signed yet.
He's a talented running back. It's kind of crazy because he's effective in the run game and in the pass game, and it's not like he's beaten down. I really don't understand it. I've never heard anything about Dalvin Cook having an attitude problem or getting in trouble in the locker room. So if it's not about his personality, if it's not about his work ethic or his production or his age, it's all about the money.
Gotcha. So we got Tyler Hero in some good company right now. So players at the age of 23 in this century that average 25-4. Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady at the age of 23, You had Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Giannis, Jokic, Tatum, Ja Morant. Yeah, Luka and Tyler Hero is in some very good company of guys at the age of 23, averaged 20 points, five assists, 4 rebounds. But Kobe Bryant, it was an interesting topic. That it was an interesting thing that he really actually said. He said Tracy McGrady was one of the toughest guys for him because his size, his length. He was one of the toughest guys, and he was hard to defend. Kobe Bean Bryant came out and said that he's one of the toughest guys that I ever had to defend, or that gave me a lot of problems. Mo, long as you know, you've been a Lake fan, you know Kobe Bean Bryant. Is Kobe lying?
No, it's all facts.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen, I can't even count how many times I've seen him and T-Mac match up, and T-Mac was giving Kobe work. I mean, they would go back and forth. I think people forget that Tracy McGrady was a legit 6'9".
Yeah.
He was 6'9", had the handle that Kobe had the athleticism that Kobe had, and he was almost a full 3-4 inches taller. So that kind of guy with that kind of skill set coming at you, and they went at each other. They went at each other since AAU. Their relationship goes back that far. So when Kobe says a guy is as a tough cover, knowing how Kobe is as a competitor, it's facts. It's all facts. Tracy McGrady, when he was healthy, before injuries took away his athleticism, was unguardable, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. And like I feel like his career is kind of slept on. It's kind of slept on a little bit because of the injuries. Because he was in Orlando by himself, have to carry the load, and I think it took a lot of legs away from him. Put a lot of miles on him. And when he was in Orlando, that dude was scary to play every single night. You knew what you were getting for Tracy McGrady, but it was also easy to game plan for him in the playoffs because he had nobody else. He had no type of help. So go ahead.
McGrady was involved in one of the most cutthroat games I've ever seen. So I don't know if you saw it. Maybe Brett saw it. This is when Jordan was on the Wizards. This is 39-year-old Michael Jordan. It's a nationally televised game. It's the Orlando Magic against the Wizards, and Tracy McGrady is eating Michael Jordan alive. He's just eating him alive. There's nothing he could do. At one point, Tracy McGrady's got the ball at the top of the key, and a big man comes over, and Tracy McGrady looked at the big man and said, "I don't need a pick." and Doug Collins was calling the game, and Doug Collins was like, "Michael's getting upset." And I was laughing because I was like, he's getting upset, but he can't do nothing about it. I've seen Michael Jordan get scored on, but that particular time, this is McGrady at the height of his powers. Obviously, this is Jordan, let's say more of a mortal, and McGrady was just eating him alive.
What people don't realize about T-Mac too is he was unstoppable, and a lot of that too had to do with his jump shot. This dude, it was very athletic and used every ounce of that because this dude's jumping as high as he can, and he's releasing it at pretty much at almost his peak vertical. Yeah. It almost looked like. So the way he got up, even guys his size, you still couldn't block it. There wasn't anything you could really do about it. So Kobe is 100% right. Prime T-Mac is a 38-game scorer in an era where they're only averaging like 90 possessions a game. Like the way he could score the basketball like few other could is absolutely insane. And I'm still like kind of salty at Doc Rivers that he just would not allow Tim Duncan's family on the team playing. If we would have gotten that T-Mac Duncan duo, that would have been a lot of fun to watch.
Oh my!
You could drop Tracy McGrady in this current NBA era, and he'd be a problem all over again.
Yep,
he'd be a problem.
He would. I think he can play in this era. I think he can play his era, and you know how much, and he will have the reputation of getting to the free throw line.
Oh, yeah. Look, in this era, T-Mac shooting 10, 12 free throws a game, easy.
Yep, easy. And he had that reputation already. Yeah, much as aggressive he is, he's going to get to the free throw line. So we got some breaking news that came out. The New Orleans Saints are not just looking at Kareem Hunt. They're looking at Anthony Barr. We just talked about it. They're looking at Anthony Barr as well as a linebacker. They're working out Anthony Barr. Is he a fit for him, Brett, for that defense for New Orleans?
I think you can fit him in. He's a nice depth piece. Watching him in Minnesota, like I think he's starting to get on the back end of his career. But I think as a rotation piece, I think he'd be a nice fit.
Mo?
I think Barr would fit well. He's a veteran. He's proven. Always been a solid player. That front four of New Orleans is no joke. So you put a linebacker back there behind them and let those tackles occupy the other team's guards. I think Anthony Barr would do really well in New Orleans. So to me, the Kareem Hunt, Anthony Barr signings, if they happen, they're just smart move for the Saints. And I think this is the Saints management really recognizing we have a real shot to win this division. Look around at this division. We have a real shot. So any holes they have, I think they're trying to plug.
Gotcha. So we got Anthony Davis, Mo, getting that money, getting his money.
Yeah.
I already know. The Lakers paid him. He's agreed to. Officially yesterday, he agreed to it. Officially signed his contract. $186 million. Is Anthony Davis worth the money? Should the Lakers have made this move? Overall thoughts? Brett, I'm gonna let you go first, and I'm waiting on Mo at reaction on the last. Go ahead, Brett.
He's worth it every other day.
the
issue
great answer.
The issue with Anthony Davis is he just can't like consistently like mentally come into games and tell himself he's the best player on the court and dominate, even though he can be. So, like, that's why, like, in the playoffs, you saw he'll go for, like, 30, 11, 25, 12, and then also next game he's going for 11 and 5. Like, that's the frustrating part with me about Anthony Davis. It's nothing to do with the skill set. If we're going just by talent and skill set, he's absolutely worth it. Guy can score at all three levels, and he's one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA. But to me, at this point, it's all about mentality. I just want to see him come out and be like, I'm the best player on the court. I'm going to prove it to everybody. And just consistently dominate just every day and not pick and choose when he's going to. That's, to me, the biggest question mark I have of Anthony Davis. And if he can consistently decide he's going to mentally dominate the game, then I think he's going to be worth it. But as of right now, I don't think so.
Mo?
So I'm not going to go by my own personal feelings. The market says he's worth it. The fact that the Lakers are built to win now, we talked about this many shows back. Everything the Warriors are doing is to sustain and continue Steph's prime, right? They want to win at least one more ring in Steph's prime. This is about trying Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, trying to win another ring in the LeBron James era. They brought LeBron James to the Lakers with the mindset that he would get to win multiple rings there. So to me, signing AD, you're trying to solidify AD staying there. You're also trying to make sure LeBron stays in LA past this season because you know he can bounce after this year if he wants to. My guess is they're trying to solidify the team around him. And look, most of that, you know how LeBron is going to be dependent on how well the Lakers play or what they do in the postseason. Anthony Davis is an alpha talent. He's an alpha talent. As a talent, he's a top 5, top 6 talent easily. But he's not an alpha mentally. So from game to game, it's Jekyll and Hyde. But that said, when you look around the league, even though he's Jekyll and Hyde, I'll take that Jekyll and Hyde. Look, Joel Embiid just won the MVP. You can say he's better than Anthony Davis, but to me, if I given a choice between the two of them as a teammate to LeBron and the mission being to win a title, I would trust Anthony Davis more than I would the MVP.
Got you. So Dwight Howard kind of revealed his GOAT, pretty much for Dwight Howard. So Dwight Howard, I know who's on the list. This was Dwight Howard's. You have LeBron. Of course, you got LeBron, you got Michael Jordan, you got Kareem, you got Magic, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan. You have Larry Bird. You have Wilt Chamberlain. But he has Kareem in first, Michael Jordan in second, LeBron in third, Kobe in fourth. Is this list wrong?
Is that me?
Yeah, Mo, go ahead. Your reaction
look,
on this list.
These top 10 lists, they're not complicated. I would say this about my Dwight's list. Having Kareem at number one, that's not criminal.
No, it's not far-fetched.
I would disagree, but it's not criminal. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When you look at basketball players, when you say the greatest basketball player of all time, not the greatest NBA player, but the greatest basketball player of all time, Kareem has the greatest resume in the history of basketball. Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, not even Russell. I'm talking about his complete basketball resume from what he did at Powell Memorial in high school, winning all those city championships, to going to UCLA, winning 3 Player of the Years, winning 3 national championships, winning 3 national championships, Player of the Tournament awards. And the only reason he didn't win 4, remember this, Coach, they didn't allow freshmen to play at UCLA. That's the only reason he only had 4.
Yep.
So his basketball resume is unique. And don't forget, when Kareem was coming into college, they did something to him that they didn't do to Russell, that they didn't do to Chamberlain. They banned dunking. Dunking was banned. They said that he would be too dominant, so they banned dunking for the time that he was at UCLA. Because right after he left, dunking came back into play, and they didn't have a problem with Bill Walton dunking. But that's just to say the impact that Kareem had overall. So that pick alone, most people think Dwight's kind of silly and not really serious. But him having Kareem there, it shows to me, whether you agree or not, he's a more serious guy than people think.
Brett?
Yeah, the thing with top 10 lists, it's going to differ from person to person. It depends on what you value more. You value the stats, the accolades, the overall impact of winning. I don't have a problem with Dwight's list. I still think he needs to get drug tested for saying if he would have lost 30 pounds, the Wizards would have won the title in 2020.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But as far as this top 10 list, I don't have an issue with it. There's nothing too horribly egregious in it. So
I would actually say Dwight's top 10 list is better than a lot of professionals' top 10 lists.
Absolutely.
I mean, basically, it feels like everybody's coming out with a top 10 list every other week, right? I'm holding my breath and waiting to see Scottie Pippen's top 10 list.
Got you. So, we got something interesting right here. We got something before we get into the nitty gritty of the main topic. So, I don't know. I believe, Mo, you put this in the group chat. I believe the Coffee and Sports in the Morning. So it was interesting. I think I asked it Friday to Dez and Mario, and I want to know y'all guys' opinion. If Scottie Pippen played today, will he be a top 5 player in the NBA if he actually played in today's era? Mo, I'm going to start with you.
I don't think he'd be top 5. But I will say this. Look at his skill set. Look at his athleticism. Scottie Pippen, a lot of times you hear people go bigger, stronger, faster. He's actually physically bigger than both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And he's athletic as either one of them. And as great a defenders as they are, he's a way better defender than either one of them. His skill set lines up with their skill set. Remember, in his era, the way that the game was played, with hand checking, he averaged 20 points a game. Take him out of that era, put him into this era, with the way the game is called, with the way the game is spaced, across the boards, his numbers go up. So 20 becomes what, 25?
Yep.
The 7 rebounds become 9 rebounds. The 6 assists become 8. I'm just making a point.
Yeah, I like it.
He might not be top 5, but he'd be one of the top 10 best players in the game. And I'm just saying, if you're talking about all around best basketball player, the same way people want to because today they talk about two-way player. Well, he'd be the best two-way player, and it wouldn't be close.
Gotcha. Rick?
Yeah, I don't think he'd be top 5. I don't think anybody would put him in the top 5, and I don't think the issue has to do with his basketball talent, because I think he would be the best two-way player in the game or really close to it. Wherever you have Kawhi Leonard ranked in your top 10, top 15, you probably move Scottie up 2 spots. But I think what people would really question is what would hurt him the most is you go back to the NBA Finals, or not that Finals, but the playoffs. When
I know where
they drew up a play for Tony Kukoc and he just straight up quit on the team. I think he has the talent to be top 5, but I don't think mentally. I think mentally he just wouldn't be strong enough to be top 5. And I think that's what would hold them out. I think his body language would be bad. If he's willing to quit in the playoffs over one shot, then I'm sure that's what would be a common theme. And unless he had a strong-headed guy like MJ or maybe like a LeBron to play with, I don't think it would go very well. And I think he'd almost be looked at in the same vein as someone like closer to maybe like where Kyrie Irving's ranked.
I was gonna say closer to Paul George, but I like yours too. Look, you make a great point, Brett. Pippen could be a number one option, but if he's your best player in that era, in this era, if he's your best player, you're not gonna win no title. We use the phrase, this guy's a Pippen, that guy's a Pippen for a reason. Scotty's a natural number two. Even if he's got number one ability to agree, he's a number two. If he played with Steph Curry, I think Scottie Pippen would be a great fit in Golden State, the way they play, right? Especially in this era. Although if he played in Golden State, I guess they wouldn't need Draymond, but that's a whole nother conversation. Let's keep it 100. Scottie Pippen is a better version of Draymond. He's a better version of Draymond.
Yeah, he's a better. He is.
Because he can do everything Draymond can do, and he can get you 20 points.
Yep, gotcha. So here we go. We got Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas. Who you guys actually taking in their absolute prime? Brett, I'm gonna start this off with you.
I'm assuming we're talking about Detroit, Isaiah Thomas.
No, Detroit, yeah, the best version of Isaiah Thomas, and you talking about the Clippers, Chris Paul version, the best versions.
See, here's what's tough about that is I know a lot of people are just going to say Isaiah Thomas because in his peak, he won a couple rings. But, man, Chris Paul was such a great all-around player as well. I think it's a lot closer than people think. If you take the rings out of it and just match them up, I think it's a lot closer than a lot of people would think.
Yep.
At their peak, I would still take Isaiah Thomas, but I'm not going to, diminish Chris Paul. I'm not going to say that it's not even close because I think it's really close. I think you're looking at two elite two-way players at the point guard position, but I would still take Isaiah Thomas.
All right, Mo, who you taking?
I'm going with Isaiah Thomas. I saw the guy score 25 points on 1 foot against the Lakers in the NBA Finals. Like Isaiah Thomas. So there are athletes that we all like or dislike for whatever reason. You just don't like them. I've never liked Isaiah Thomas, but it's more of the enemy of my enemy. He was in direct way of Magic winning another title, right? Even though they were friends. The Pistons were the Lakers' enemies on the backside of the Showtime era. Isaiah Thomas is a great player. I don't care what nobody says. Clutch shot maker, underrated defender. He was a leader. Chris Paul is probably one of the greatest undersized defensive players I've ever seen. And while I think Gary Payton at their peak is a better defender, maybe the greatest, one of the 5 greatest defenders of all time, overall, the breadth of his career, Chris Paul was a greater defender. He just started showing slippage the last couple seasons. So it's not crazy if anybody goes, I'll go with Chris Paul. But Zeke is tough to beat, not just because of the rings, because statistically, I mean, Zeke's putting up 20 and 9. I mean, he was a monster.
Yep.
And on a side note, I would say this: they're both equally dirty. Zeke was a little dirty. Chris Paul definitely a little dirty. They got some similarities, but as a player, Isaiah Thomas, he's got that big kilowatt smile that throws you off. That guy is ruthless. He's cutthroat. So I'm gonna go with Zeke.
All right, gotcha. So the main event topic that we all been coming for, that we all waited for, right here. So NFL, we have NFL 2000 defense, Ravens versus 2002 Buccaneers defense versus 2005 Chicago Bears defense versus 2013 Seattle Seahawks defense. Which of these 4 would you crown the best defense in the 2000s era? Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
To me, I picked the 2000 Ravens. I think they're the best defense. You're talking about a defense they allowed only 2.7 running yards a game. They allowed 11 passing touchdowns through the air, but they picked off 23. And then once they got the playoffs, they hit a different gear. They only allowed 16 points and had forced 12 turnovers. Technically, they allowed 23, but one of those was on a kickoff return. So, to me, you're looking at a defense in the Ravens that was historically dominant through the regular season. And then once the playoffs hit, they just got even better. So, I'm going to go with the 2000 Ravens.
Mo, go ahead. It's easy, man. I saw those Ravens, and I mean, people forget that was old school football. Those Ravens, they weren't just a good defensive team. They were wrecking people. Like the Seahawks team is nice. They were really nice. That Buccaneers team, they played at cover 2. You got Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Barber. I mean, they were loaded across the board, but the Ravens had great players at all 3 levels. And it wasn't just Ray Lewis. People forget about people like Saragusa. Saragusa would occupy your guards and free up Ray Lewis to make plays. They had Peter Boulware. Arguably, to me, when you think about safeties, is Ronnie Lott and is Ed Reed. There's some great safeties, but those are my top 2. Ed Reed is probably the greatest ball-hawking safety in the history of football, period, bar none. And when he snatched the ball out the air, Ed Reed's taking it to the house. He wasn't just a guy that got an interception. He's taking it to the house. That Ravens defense wrecked people. When you saw them play Tennessee, because there was a rivalry with Tennessee versus the Ravens, it wasn't really a rivalry because the Ravens was wrecking them. Like Eddie George was a big power back, one of the really great power backs. But when he played the Ravens, Ray Lewis would destroy Eddie George. Like they were putting the clackamos on Eddie George. Like Eddie George against the Ravens, every time he got the handoff, it was medicine time. They was giving him medicine. Steve McNair, they was working him too. Like those Ravens teams, when you can look at your offense and go, if y'all score 13 points, we're good. And it's not a high scoring offense. Remember the quarterback. Jamal Lewis was a great running back.
Yep.
Trent Dilfer wasn't going to kill you with his arm. Trent Dilfer had one job: don't turn the ball over.
Yep.
If you go 3 and out, don't worry, we good because we'll get the ball back for you. That defense, as dominating as the '85 Bears defense was, that defense was even more dominating, and it was more intimidating.
Yep.
They put fear into you. It wasn't just that they were a great defense; they added a fear factor because they were hard hitters.
Got you, guys. Desto, salute, my boy. How you doing this morning? All right, since we're crowning we're gonna definitely agree. We're gonna crown the Baltimore Ravens defense. But who would you guys pick? Out of the 2002 Buccaneers, the Bears, 2005, or 2003 Seahawks? So we already know the Ravens are above those guys. But Mo, I'm gonna start with you. Which one would you crown second place?
Ooh. I like those Seahawks teams. I mean, you had Sherman and Earl Thomas and Wags. I mean, that Seahawks team, they were famous for swarming to the ball. They play with so much speed. They were dominant as well, but in a different way. They didn't intimidate you, but they were so skilled, and they were all great tacklers. Like all of them, a lot of great corners don't tackle. Sherman would tackle people. He would hit people. Earl Thomas, he'll put the hurt on you in his prime. Like they were nice across the board. So I would go with the Seahawks.
Brett?
All right. I just got to say the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. I think we just found Jordan's burner account, but
nah.
I'd have to go with the Seahawks too.
Okay.
Like Bobby Wagner, Cliff Averill, Richard Sherman. You had the best safety duo in the league back there. Cam Chancellor would light people up. Earl Thomas was also phenomenal.
Man, Cam Chancellor was a linebacker playing safety.
Yeah. No. To me, that defense just had the perfect blend of playmaking in both the pass and run game, and they turned the ball over a lot, or forced a lot of turnovers, I mean. So I would go with the 2013 Seahawks.
Hey Mo, what was that play like throughout the first play of the game? When they played Denver, they had them scared right away. Wes Welker, one of them came across that middle, Camp Chancellor knocked him out pretty quick, and after that was a done deal. They had pretty much took all the life out of them at that moment when he took that hit coming across.
Game over. Game over.
They were shooking up from the start of that. I mean, Denver came in the highest offense, one of the highest offenses in the league. From the opening kickoff, Percy Harvin ran that kickoff return back. Then Denver got back on offense. The moment Peyton Manning threw that ball to Wes Welker over the middle, it was got to be one of Wes Welker or Sam Decker, whoever, Decker that caught the ball. Camp Chancellor put a hit on him. You didn't see him come across the middle no more. And after that, game.
You know what, Coach? That was Eric Decker. You right.
Yeah, Eric Decker. It was one of those. Yeah, I remember that. One of those. Cam Chancellor laid that boom on him. You didn't see him come across it no more, and the game was over right up out of that.
They did. They straight intimidated Denver from the jump after the game was literally over after that. Like it was blowout city. Everybody was shook, including Peyton. Yeah. And Peyton is supposed to be unflappable, and he was shook.
No, if they told me if I was in the NFL and they're like, you got to run a slant route over the middle and Cam Chancellor's right over there about to size me up. Nah, Coach, I got to use the bathroom real quick. Put the other guy
It almost was illegal. The man was the size of a linebacker, and he ran a 4.5, and he was just, he coming at you with that kind of speed. That's crazy.
Hey, Desto, you're right. Sam Decker did play for the Rock. I forgot he played for my Rockets. I forgot he even played. He even played for him. So, Mo, we got Mo's boxing segment right now, Mo. So give us the word information on you got. Tell us about you guys.
Coach, I was thinking about body punchers, guys that can come at you and attack the body. And we started talking about Mike McCallum, the body snatcher.
Gotcha.
If you're a fan of boxing and Mike McCallum, the thing about Mike McCallum is he was not just a technician. He was a pressure fighter who could corner you, and he was never a headhunter. Mike McCallum, he would take your body out. Mike McCallum fought to go deep. Mike McCallum would take you into the 13th, 14th round and break you down from those body shots. You might could take him the first 2 or 3 rounds, maybe 4 rounds, but late in the fight, those kidney shots, those rib shots that would shatter your body, Mike McCallum was a great counterpuncher. He was a strategic fighter, elusive fighter, and he had the jab and the hand quickness to where he could attack from the outside as well. Some of his most notable wins was when he beat Julian Jackson. Remember Julian Jackson, Julian the Hawk Jackson, knockout puncher.
The hardest puncher probably.
Yeah, took on Julius Jackson. Julius Jackson had him in trouble in the first round. Mike McCallum survives, comes back in the second round, and breaks Julius Jackson down and knocks him out in the second round. You heard of the world famous Crunk Gym, those Crunk fighters. These are 2 notable matches. Milton McQuarrie, another Crunk fighter, a world champion. Mike McCallum took Milton McQuarrie out, knocked him out in the 10th round with a body shot. He took on Donald Curry, another world champion from the Crunk Gym. Beat Donald Curry in the 5th round with an overhand right, but it came right after a body shot. Mike McCallum's body punches are legendary. He's also ranked, Coach, as one of the hardest hitting fighters in boxing history, but it's for his body punches. Mike McCallum fought, I think he has 55 fights, 49 wins. Of his losses, he's got a draw, but of his 5 losses, Coach, 3 of those came after the age of 40, where he was well past his prime.
Yep. Okay.
Another a matchup that was of note. He and James Toney, the great James Toney, fought 3 times. The first time it was a draw. One of the great wars. If you want to see a slugfest that goes back and forth for 15 rounds, watch Toney versus McCallum. That was a draw. Their next fight, another war, James Toney won. It was a disputed unanimous decision. A lot of people thought McCallum won. And then their third fight, and this was when Mike McCallum was like 41 or 42. James Toney won a unanimous decision. But when you're talking about technicians, guys who had the skill to adjust to any opponent, could fight at any weight class. Mike McCallum was a champion at welterweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight. Mike McCallum was one of the great fighters that you never talk about.
Yep.
Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, one of my favorites.
Gotcha. Again, I had an interesting boxer. That was very interesting. You remember Zap Super Judah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, bro. Boy, Zap Super Judah. He was the first actually fighter that well, it was a lot of people that gave Floyd Mayweather a lot of problems. You had Emmanuel Augusta that gave him a lot of problems. Even though Floyd ended up vanquishing him. But Zab Super Judah probably put one of the hardest punches really on Floyd Mayweather in the middle rounds. He had him beat 2 out of the last 3 rounds. We already know how great Floyd Mayweather is good at adjusting. He seemed to be a hothead when he got knocked out by Costa Zoo, when he lost his legs a little bit.
I remember that. I don't care what nobody say, Coach. That is the funniest knockout.
That was the funniest knockout ever. He lost his legs. He tried. Think he tried to get up. He got up really too fast. He let his legs recover. Then he ended up getting wobbled.
Coach, he did the Ric Flair.
That was funny. I just wanted to admit that was another fighter, that went late in his career, that had trouble sustaining late in his career. Mm-hmm. He got a big fight again. He got a big win versus Lucas Matisse. He outfought Lucas Matisse at the age about 37 years old. So he was still
had talent.
Zap Judah had talent, but he had trouble listening to his coach, his dad. He had trouble letting his hand go. It depends on what fighter he fought, but the dude was an okay fighter. He was a pretty okay fighter. Riddick Bowe. Someone said Riddick Bowe was very underrated. I would love him to fight Lennox Lewis. I would love to see a fight towards him and Lennox Lewis in their primes. Who do you think would have won that fight, though? That's a question I want to ask you. Between Riddick Bowe and Lewis, if they fought between 1990 but 1992, because I believe they both was younger at that point, and Lennox Lewis owned a victory over Riddick Bowe in the Olympics. So who do you think would have won that fight?
If it's a boxing match, Lennox Lewis is going to win. But if it can turn into a brawl or a fight, Riddick Bowe's going to win. Riddick Bowe, look, when we all know the problem with Riddick Bowe was he struggled with his weight his whole career. But when Riddick Bowe was in shape, he was dominant, man. Like great jab, great overhand right, could really fought well in the clinches. You want to see some wars, go watch Riddick Bowe against Evander Holyfield. Watch those fights. Watch Riddick Bowe at his peak. I think Riddick Bowe, to me, you know what? Let me rewind that, Coach. If they fought and I'm betting money, I would bet the money on Riddick Bowe.
Gotcha. Definitely. Gotcha right there. So we have come to a conclusion to the morning show, fellas. Shout out to everybody, all the listeners, all the viewers. Mo, tell the people they can follow you at.
Right here with you, Coach, Monday through Friday, Coffee Sports in the morning. You can catch me on later tonight at 6:30 with Kyle and the crew on the cheap seats. Other than that, I'm here in the Empire.
Brett?
You can catch me on the morning show Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You can catch me on Line in the Sand Tuesday nights, and you'll soon be able to catch my articles on the Empire soon enough. And I just want to say, Mo, I really love your boxing segments. They're very insightful, and I love learning about new underrated boxers every day.
See, Mo, we need to link up and get a boxing show going, man.
Coach, I'm with you. We need to do a show.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to Freddie about that and say, can we get something going on? Because we like I said, we'll work good together in the boxing segment,
and we can talk about a lot of the current.
We can talk about a lot of the current fights. I would love that. So I'll get in touch with Freddie on that and start something boxing. So other than that, as for me, Coach Dante, as for my right hand man on the right. Mo down at the bottom, y'all got to guard that 3, man. Like I say, if you don't guard that 3, hey, you don't win, man. If you don't guard the 3, yep. So other than that, this is the end of Coffee Sports in the Morning. We'll see y'all in another one.
Peace.
Tuesday morning. Have a good rest of y'all day.